Maybe I've convinced you to check out Mutants and Masterminds in my last video. Or maybe you're here doing your own research. Maybe you're looking for background noise to sleep to. Either way, it's time to discuss stats in Mutants and Masterminds. But before we can discuss stats, we must discuss measurements. Every single power rank, stat, and even details like the toughness of objects can be measured using the following charts. It's important to remember that each number represents a range of values. For example, a character with strength 5 being able to lift up to 1,600 pounds. And each rank is merely an approximation of that character's abilities. Once you scale past human and into superhuman, numbers get crazy. 0 is the base rank for everything and is considered an average score. 7 is the upper limit you should expect from most non-superhumans, although human fictional characters like, say, Batman can often have superhuman ability scores. Each rank up doubles the value, or really the range, of the last rank. Rank 0 strength can lift 50 pounds, rank 1, 100 pounds, and rank 2, 200 pounds. The last thing you should know is that nearly everything in Mutants and Masterminds is limited by your character's power level, as well as a few other numbered limitations to keep things balanced. With that in mind, let's talk about your ability score. Your ability scores, also known simply as your abilities, are your 8 main stats that are used for everything from feats of athleticism to knowledge and technology. All abilities can be measured against these benchmarks. This is a helpful guide for trying to figure out what ability score to give your character. Strength is your character's muscle power and ability to apply it. It determines damage dealt by unarmed and strength-based attacks, how much you can lift, and it boosts your athletics skill. Agility is your character's balance, grace, and physical coordination. It boosts your dodge defense, which helps you avoid ranged attacks, and your initiative, as well as boosting the acrobatics and stealth skills. Fighting is your character's close combat ability. It boosts all close-range attack checks, and your parry defense, which helps you avoid close-range attacks. Awareness is your character's common sense, intuition, and street smarts. It boosts your will defense, which helps you avoid mental effects. It also boosts your insight and perception skills. Stamina is your character's health, endurance, and physical resilience. It boosts your toughness defense, which helps you resist damage, as well as your fortitude defense, which helps you resist physical health effects. Dexterity is your character's hand-eye coordination, precision, and manual dexterity. It boosts all ranged attacks, as well as boosting your sleight of hand and vehicle skills. Intellect is your character's reasoning and learning. It boosts your investigation, technology, and treatment skills, in addition to all of your expertise skills. Lastly, presence is your character's personality, persuasiveness, leadership, and sometimes their attractiveness. It boosts your deception, intimidation, and persuasion skills. Every ability can also be rolled by themselves when a specific skill does not apply. It costs 2 power points to increase your ability scores by 1, which is a high but fair price. Boosting a defense costs 1 power point, and boosting a skill costs half of a power point. On the topic of skills, some skills can be performed without training, but some skills require your character to have taken lessons and put points towards that skill. Skills affect both superhuman and ordinary uses of skills. I've mentioned every skill before, but this will be a slightly more detailed section about them. Acrobatics is an agility skill that must be trained and requires a move or free action. It governs actions like balancing, maneuvering, standing up from a prone position, and tumbling to avoid fall damage. Athletics is a strength skill that can be used untrained and requires a move action. It governs actions like climbing, jumping, running, and swimming. Close combat skills are a set of fighting skills that can be used untrained and requires a standard action. Any specific kind of close-range attack or fighting style can be a close combat skill. Deception is a presence skill that can be used untrained and requires a standard action. It governs actions like bluffing, disguises, performing feints to trick enemies in combat, using innuendo to send secret messages, and tricking people in general. Expertise skills are a set of skills usually governed by intellect, although not always, that may or may not be used untrained depending on what they are. The action required will vary based on the skill. Expertise skills may be a career skill or some other knowledge your character has great skill in. Insight is an awareness skill that can be used untrained and requires a free action. It governs the ability to detect illusions or see if someone is being influenced by another person, evaluating a person's trustworthiness, picking up on innuendo, as well as resisting being influenced by social skills. Intimidation is a presence skill that can be used untrained and requires a standard action. It can be used to coerce or demoralize people, getting them to do what you want, or shake their confidence. Investigation is an intelligence skill that must be trained. It is complicated, and often requires a series of actions. In general, it can be used to actively search an area for details, gather and analyze evidence or information, especially through contacts. It can also be used to set up surveillance of an area. Perception is an awareness skill that can be used untrained and requires a free action. Perception is the application of your senses such as sight and hearing and gives you information. Often it is used to detect stealth as well. Persuasion is a presence skill that can be used untrained and usually requires a standard action or longer. It is the application of your charisma to win people over in negotiations and to change NPC attitudes. Be aware that failing a persuasion check carries heavy penalties between characters. Ranged combat is a set of dexterity combat skills that can be used untrained and require a standard action. Any ranged fighting style can be a ranged combat skill. Sleight of hand is a dexterity skill that must be trained and requires a standard action. It is used for concealing small items, contorting your body, escaping restraints, general sleight of hand or legerdemain, and stealing from another. Stealth is an agility skill that can be used untrained and requires at least a move action. It governs hiding in cover and tailing a target. Technology is an intelligence skill that must be trained and requires a standard action. Technology also requires proper tools, resulting in a -5 penalty without them. It can be used to operate, build, or repair technology and gear. It can also be used to demolish a structure, invent something new, or disable security. Treatment is an intelligence skill that must be trained and requires a standard action. It can be used to treat illnesses, diagnose ailments over the course of a minute, provide health care, revive a dazed or stunned character, stabilize a dying character, and lastly, treat diseases or poisons. Vehicles is a dexterity skill that must be trained and requires a move action. It is required for performing difficult maneuvers in a vehicle or driving exotic vehicles. After skills come defenses. Defenses are like skills but for resisting negative effects such as damage or status effects. There are 5 different defenses: dodge, parry, fortitude, toughness, and will. The Mutants and Mastermind Handbook really puts it best. Dodge is your reaction time, quickness, nimbleness, and overall coordination, used to avoid ranged attacks or other hazards where reflexes and speed are important. Parry is your ability to counter, duck, or otherwise evade a foe's attempts to strike you in close combat through superior fighting ability. Both of these are active defenses and may be reduced through circumstances, especially those reducing your ability to maneuver. Fortitude measures health and resistance to threats like poison or disease. Will measures mental stability, level-headedness, determination, self-confidence, self-awareness, and willpower, and is used to resist mental or spiritual attacks. Last but not least, toughness is your resistance to direct damage or harm, and overall durability. Toughness is a special defense in that it's the only defense that cannot be raised directly without the usage of a power or equipment. This covers the majority of what you'll need to know about stats in Mutants and Masterminds. The next 2 pieces of the puzzle are advantages and powers.